What's going on, my nerdy friends? Thanks for pressing play today. In today's episode of Nerd Nostalgia, you can catch Bryan, Trey, and Irvin, me, chatting about our favorite video game, and specifically our favorite fighting video game. Enjoy the episode. If you are new around here, we have a Facebook page. Just search Nerd Nostalgia Podcast. It's a private group where our listeners can post any nerdy stuff that they want. Additionally, you'll find us on YouTube at Nerd Nostalgia Podcast, so give us a quick subscription on that. And then you'll also find us on Instagram at nerd.nostalgia. Oh, also, if you have an iPhone, iPad, or Mac device, do us a quick favor and drop a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts /iTunes. Or maybe you don't have an iPhone or an Apple device or whatever the case may be. Maybe your mom or dad or brother, sister, cousin, girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, whoever, if they do have one and you do listen to our podcast, just snatch their phone up real quick, click the 5 stars, and drop a quick review about the podcast. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. As always, here's a quick clip for you to enjoy.
This whole conversation's about nerd nostalgia. And what is more nerdy and nostalgic than having a bunch of Nintendo characters punch each other in the wieners? All right, we're talking about, is it best or worst fighting game?
Best.
All right, round 1, fight.
Fun fact, you did that last time too, you fucking nerd.
What do you mean last time? I don't understand why you said that.
So is this favorite franchise, or is this favorite game specifically, or is this like? And I'm asking just kind of because we can do all of those. Mm-hmm. Like to me, the most iconic one is going to be Mortal Kombat.
Let's. What if we jump platform to platform, console to console? So
I didn't have that kind of money growing up. I didn't have all them platforms.
I think the appropriate way to do this is to have an actual fight between us as competitors, and we'll do it tournament style. So Trey and Irvin will fight each other, and then I'll determine the winner, and then I'll fight that person. And that's the Mortal Kombat style tournament.
Okay, so
you two fight it out. Which you think? Okay, establish who are your players. Trey, who are you representing?
Virtua Fighter.
Okay, Irvin, pick a slightly better one than that, and it's not hard because Virtua Fighter sucks.
I think I could pick any other franchise, and it would be significantly better.
You could pick a game about pacifism and a reluctance to combat, and that would be a better fighting game than Virtua Fighter.
Agreed.
Who represents Irvin in this battle?
What is the name of this podcast? It's Nostalgia. That's what I'm going for, man.
If Virtua Fighter makes you feel nostalgic, then your childhood sucked.
I second that.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna go OGs. I'm gonna go Street Fighter.
Virtua Fighter had better graphics.
What is Virtua Fighter even still around?
Sega's not around. That's not the fault of the franchise. That's the fault of the distributor and the platform. I mean, I think Virtua Fighter was what was keeping that platform around as long as they did. Fuck Sonic. Sonic didn't have anything to do with this.
When's the Virtua Fighter movie coming out?
Soon.
Okay, guys, we got to back up. You guys are doing a lot of foreplay. This is not a real fight. You guys need to start exchanging blows over your favorite fighting game. Round 1, fight!
I'm literally gasping for air with my choice, but I stand by it. I stand by it.
Trey, that answer was the fighting game equivalent of unplug your controller and still pushing on the buttons.
No, okay, so graphically, it was really good for its time. It was, 64-bit? Or maybe 32. I don't know. I can't remember.
What platform, or I keep saying platform, sorry guys. What console did that even come out on?
Sega Saturn, bro.
It was Sega.
Yeah, Sega Saturn.
Saturn. Not even Genesis. Saturn was...
Yeah, it was on Genesis too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think. But for sure Saturn. That's the one that I played. And then there may have been... this is probably going to be a question for Jeeves, but for sure it was on Sega Saturn, and it was one of the flagship titles for the Sega Saturn, like flagship enough that it like shipped with the console. whenever it was in its heyday. Because if I'm doing my math right, Sega Saturn came out before the Nintendo 64, but slightly. And I still have my Sega Saturn. I still have Virtua Fighter in there, and I challenge anyone to combat on Virtua Fighter, and I'll still kick your ass with my boy Lion. Akira was in there too. There was some other ones. Jackie and like Sarah, I think her name was, and they were brother and sister. One was a cop. Anyway, yeah.
So fun little fact here. Virtua Fighter was out on mobile all the way up until 2014. So almost 6 years ago, it was still out. I thought it would have died before then.
Good games never die.
Evidently, this one did in 2014.
All right, after that very unimpressive first attack, Irvin, I think it's time to finish him.
Wrong game, stupid.
Not only was there a magnificently made movie about my pick, but it's Street Fighter, dude. You have every single style demographic in that type of, in that franchise. You have a white guy that's an American that can throw sonic booms. You have an Asian chick that has super sexy legs and kicks really fast. You have a white dude that does karate. You have a Japanese dude that does karate as well, but better. You also have a Russian, what was Zangief? What was Zangief? He was like USSR, right?
Yeah.
Soviet at the time, but yeah, Russian.
Yeah,
culturally,
yeah.
right?
Tomato.
Yeah, Soviet Union.
So they covered more spectrum, and so I think that's why their fan base was bigger, and it's still around. So yeah, that's my finishing blow.
When did the last Street Fighter game come out? I mean, what is it on now? I'm just curious. I'm not saying it's not. I know that they've been around. I don't know, because I played Street Fighter on Sega Saturn. It was on there as well. It was not nearly as impressive of a game. I mean, Blanca's my boy, but
AKA Charlie, to those who don't know.
And
that was Guile's best friend.
Yeah, we've seen the movie.
Was that in the movie? I don't even remember the movie.
Yeah, it was. And but yeah, that was the. It was just more fun. It was more Virtua Fighter was more fun.
You're not telling us why it was more fun.
It had, well, because of the mechanics, really, is what it was. So there wasn't a whole lot there, like with Mortal Kombat and with Virtua Fighter and other games, stuff like that. There's like secret moves that can be unlocked, and I say secret moves; they're not very secret, but like special moves for each character. Now Blanca had like the electric thing, and what was his name? Vega.
Yeah,
he had like the claw thing.
I always liked him because I knew he was Latin, and he was
just really effeminate.
He was a matador, and so matadors are supposed to be light on their feet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but he like screamed like a little bitch. Yeah. So
hey, Trey, can we? How do I say this? Can we kind of go back in time and have you pick Mortal Kombat or literally any other fighting game than that bullshit that you picked? Like, what? Virtua Fighter. That's what you came up with? Come on.
To answer your question, they came out with the 30th anniversary game in 2018. That was the last one they've made.
Okay. No, like I said, I knew it had been somewhat recent.
I'm still waiting on Virtua Fighter's 30th anniversary game.
Hey, Sega, if you're listening, I got an idea for you. Okay, all right. I went into this discussion thinking that we were going to go with like favorites and, what it means to you and everything like that. And then you turn this into a tournament, Honeycutt, for your own twisted desires.
You mispronounced twisted pleasures.
And so, yeah, all right, best. So when I think best, that means most well known. That means most widely played fighting game.
I think it could be best for you. It could be very subjective, but I just need your opinions to be less terrible.
I fucking hate you. Budokai.
Wait, did you say Budokai?
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Budokai.
Yeah.
All right, okay, now that's a respectable answer. You're back in the fight. Get out there and kick him in the teeth.
All right, so great graphics, follows the story, Super Saiyans all over the fucking place. Fusions available. All the way. I guess it's everything but like the super stuff.
Yeah.
I think it even because it had GT in there and Budokai.
Trey, go back and explain what Budokai is for the non-initiated. What the franchise is, how many iterations there were in the franchise, and why it's your favorite.
I have no idea how many iterations there are. There's a ton.
Okay. There's 3.
There were 3 iterations of.
Was the clap meant to pause?
Yeah.
Now you want to clap, you piece of shit?
And so, 3 iterations of characters that you know and love from the Dragon Ball universe. Available with each of their unique powers and abilities, and then also kind of building into the storyline of the show or manga, whatever. And if you have a Dragon Ball background, the fusion techniques that are available and everything like that. So like you could be Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like with the red monkey thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was very legit.
Yeah. I think Bryan and I think we're in college and that was our thing.
Oh God, we did
that.
A shit ton of that at your house. Oh my
yeah.
God, it was on PS2.
Yeah. The tactic was, all right, you play as Goku and I'll play as Vegeta or whatever. Do the fusion for one, power all the way up to Super Saiyan 4, and then let the other person do that, and then fight as Gogeta on Gogeta as Super Saiyan 4, which is a pretty epic showdown. And I always kicked Bryan's ass.
And obviously, Trey's memory is faltering. I don't know that he won a single time. It's nice that he imagines it that way. He's a father now. He needs to feel good about himself. But ultimately, it's based on a lie. Trey, that was a good second round. Your first round, dog shit, terrible. I'm embarrassed. But that second round, oof, beautiful choice. Budokai.
So yeah. Okay, so you're sticking with your shit one?
Oh. Okay. So if he gets to evolve and turn Super Saiyan, if you will, I got one in the bag, and this is it's gonna stick with my theme, but it's gonna elevate it. But I want to hear Honeycutt's.
Hold on, a new challenger approaches.
There we go. Fucking nerd, I love it. Keep it going.
I'm gonna slide in. I'm gonna say the following about Irvin's choice. Street Fighter actually had 2 movies. The second was the Chun-Li story.
Oh, yeah.
I did forget about that.
Irvin, I need you to remember this about the first Street Fighter movie.
It had Jean-Claude Van Damme in it?
It killed Raul Julia. It killed him.
Literally killed him.
There could have been a third Addams Family movie, but your movie killed him. Thank you for that, Irvin. Thank you for that choice. Thank you for killing Raul Julia. Okay, so that's why Irvin's choice was terrible. Because, I mean, again, the Street Fighter movie had one good line, but ultimately it did result in Raul Julia's death. Now, the actual best, and again, I can't really fault Trey's because Budokai, fantastic series. But there's a better one.
So a new challenger approaches.
You know how some people, when they would play GoldenEye, would pick Oddjob, which was the cheat character?
Absolutely.
I am picking Oddjob in this fight, and I'm going with the obvious, easiest, and most overpowered choice, which is Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers is the correct choice because I want you to think about the last time you played, what was the stupid answer that Irvin had? Street Fighter? The last time you played Street Fighter. It may have been fun. It may have been kind of exciting, but it was probably just 2 people hanging out together. And Trey, we played a lot of Budokai, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. Loved it. But the last time you played Smash Brothers, there were 4 or more people in the room. You were screaming and yelling. Friendships were destroyed. Memories were made. Enemies forged for a lifetime. That That is nostalgia. When Kirby turns into a rock and smashes down on Pikachu's skull, and you can imagine that's not just regular Pikachu, it's Detective Pikachu, voiced by Ryan Reynolds. Meanwhile, Mario is dick punching Princess Peach and or Princess Zelda. That is going to create memories. And that's why Smash Brothers is the best game, because this whole conversation's about nerd nostalgia. And what is more nerdy and nostalgic than having a bunch of Nintendo characters punch each other in the wieners?
I like it.
I see your Super Smash Brothers and your nostalgia views and, elevating the game and being around more than one person and multiple people fighting and, just a kind of group atmosphere. I see that. That's a good point. You know what? I'll give that to you, Bryan. But I'm going to come back at you sticking with my guns. I'm going to go Marvel versus Capcom. What you got on that? Now, if you remember, this was on consoles as well, but it was also an arcade game where multiple people could play it.
I'll say this. Hang on. Before you respond to that. So that statement, both of your and your one-upness took me back to two different layers of my brain and memories. And I just remember being like sitting around and playing Smash Brothers in like multiple people's living rooms over the years, and even most recently at my brother's bachelor party playing, because Smash Brothers, what is the newest one called?
Ultimate?
Yeah, the one that came out like what, 2018?
I want to say it's Smash Brothers Ultimate, but I haven't played it in a while. I think it's Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah, so it had literally just come out, and I can't remember who it was that was on I think it was Rain. So my brother's brother-in-law downloaded it when we were out there and we were playing it. So and it was a great time. Like we had like hours of fun doing that. And then I think back to like your apartment in college playing it on your ill-gotten gains Wii. But then he brings that up and it goes so much further back than that at the freaking skating rink playing Marvel vs. Capcom.
Fuck yeah.
And Mortal Kombat was in there too. Like, because they had a Mortal Kombat machine and then they had a Marvel vs. Capcom machine at the skating rink in Cyprus, I think. So him saying that and like being like, okay, yeah, it's so like the arcade version is totally one, it's a spectator sport. Like, yeah, not 4 people get to play at a time. Marvel vs. Capcom didn't have like the 4-player option, like where it had like four joysticks and 4 buttons or 4 sets of buttons. But it totally became a spectator sport while people poured quarters into that thing, switching, one to the next. Whoever lost, moved on. Whoever won got to play again, whatever. Yeah, tournament style.
Marvel vs. Capcom was always a spectator sport for me, even when I was playing it, because I sucked so bad at that game that even if I have my hand on a controller, I'm losing. Like, I might as well just be sitting in the background. That's how much control I have over the game.
So that brings up like what is your playing style? Are you the like crouch and button masher, punch, or low kick, like over and over and over and over again? Or are you like me, who always tries to do like the cool move, like the special move that I do know, the throw or the grab or the grapple or like the spin around the head and break the neck thing, and usually fails miserably and gets beat just because somebody actually just like plays and tries to punch and kick me?
I like to think that I've got one play style, and it's that I use Chun-Li, and I jump in the air, and I use my big ol' legs to kick you to death. There is no second style. There is no second school of combat.
So everybody played this game. I'm curious to know who y'all used to pick. I think I remember my two. It used to be Wolverine and Mega Man. Was there a third? I think in one of the...
Mega Man was a part of that.
I just liked him turning into...
I think Wolverine probably.
With his Berserker mode, dude. He went off. And then I probably had Ryu in there as well. Because Ryu was always OP in the games.
Yeah. Wolverine. I think I was like Captain America or something. Like,
I could see you being a Captain America guy.
Yeah. Because he was just kind of a bull, like just throw it in there. Again, I definitely have played, or I guess it's probably more recently, have played more Smash Brothers, especially with the release of the new game. And I know that they're still coming out with like the Marvel vs. Capcom stuff. I know they still have that, and I think it's all on like online now. But yeah, I don't know if there is really a good playing style with Marvel vs. Capcom. Or I don't know. That may be wrong, but just difficult to like be like the best, because I feel like there wasn't an odd job as far as I remember. Yeah. Like if you were picking somebody to play as, because I think depending on how dirty you wanted to play, there's several characters from, or I say several, there is at least one or two characters from each franchise that I know of that if you play as them, you have a better likelihood of succeeding. Back to Virtua Fighter, if you were, what was her name? Pi. Yeah, she had like a 1, 2, 3 quick punch combo with a like tornado spinning kick. And if you landed like 2 or 3 of those, game over. Easy. What was the Street Fighter one? Who do you think was like overpowered for Street Fighter?
And Bison.
Bison was a difficult character to master, though, so I never felt like I never felt that people picked him. But once you had him, like once you had it going, like you were almost unstoppable.
But I think that like for Street Fighter, if you were willing to play dirty, Blanca, because you could just stand there spouting electricity over and over and over and over again, and anytime anybody tried to get close to you, I mean, as long as you were like up,
it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Well, what I mean is like, yeah, if you were up just a little bit, and then you just kept pressing that like back B or whatever, I'd have to like feel the controller again in my hands to remember how to do it. But if you kept that electricity going the whole time, they couldn't get near you. Like you could just continually do it until time ran out.
Speaking of non sequiturs, do you guys remember TMNT Tournament Fighters for the Super Nintendo?
You got me, dude. I do not remember that.
Trey, did you ever play that?
I can't say I remember the game because I was a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles buff back in the day, but I can't remember it with any accuracy. And we didn't have a Super Nintendo. We went straight from like NES to it may have been Sega. Like, so we had a pretty big gap from NES all the way up to Sega. And then after that point, and it wasn't even Genesis, it was Sega Saturn. But we had handheld. We had Game Boys, and we had Game Boy Color, and stuff like that. And I had a Lynx. Does anybody remember that? It was like
a Lynx? Is that a system?
Yeah, Lynx, LYNX. It was color before Game Boy Color, and it had real music. Now you'll have to look it up to like see how big this thing was. It was about the length of an iPad, and the screen on it was about the same size as like the old Nokias, but it was color, and it had huge like it was big enough that it had like grips on the back, like for your fingers to go in. And then it had like, a D-pad on the left side, and then like maybe like 6 buttons on the right side. It was approximately the same size as like a Switch, but way bulkier. Like, I mean, about, 3 or 4 inches thick. Whereas, like a Switch is flatter, right? And we had that for a while, and I really enjoyed that. There was like a futuristic racing game that we had on that thing that was pretty awesome. And then there was a a Tim Burton's Batman game. So which one is the one that had the penguin in it? Is that Returns?
Batman Returns.
Yeah. So it had a Batman Returns side-scrolling action game in color with music on this handheld.
I am positive that game was terrible.
Oh no! It was fucking impossible. It was so hard. It was so hard to play. And especially for like a 8-9-year-old kid. But yeah, it was no good. But the racing game was a lot of fun that I remember. But yeah, I guess it was like NES and then Sega Saturn, and then we had an N64, and then we jumped from there. We jumped to the Sony platforms, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and I've been with Sony since. Really, we had a Wii, the original Wii. I think that's it. But yeah, so like SNES and stuff like that, I don't have a whole lot of background in, but friends that had it and everything.
Irvin, Trey and I both switched gears a little bit. Do you have a fighting game you want to pitch? Or I guess you're still in the middle of your Marvel v Capcom.
I did. I switched over to that, and I'm going to stick to the guns, man, because to me, Street Fighter is still the best game, and whenever they added Marvel characters on there, it really just elevated it. And it started off, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it started off as an arcade game, but then they did bring it on to consoles, and that really elevated it. And I don't think to this day they have them. I don't think I've seen anything in the past few years. But I want to say maybe up till like 2016, 2015, something like that. I had seen stuff about it. I haven't played video games, fighting video games specifically, in a long time. And so I can't really quote it. But yeah, I'm going to stick to my guns that's hands down the best one. I'm a big fan, and this is a personal standpoint, right? I'm a big fan of crossovers and bringing in different characters. And so that's why I think I liked the Avengers so much. That's why Civil War was one of my favorite Marvel movies for a while. Whenever the Arrowverse started doing their crossovers, I thought it was so cool. Excluding the most recent one. I don't know if you've guys seen that. That it's absolute fucking dog shit.
You didn't like? Why didn't you like the Crisis?
Dude, it was just bad writing, bad. I don't know, just everything was bad. The only cool thing that came from that was, and this is a spoiler alert if y'all haven't seen it, was Ezra Miller's Flash crossing over into what's his name, Grant Gustin's Flash, and them having a
the Arrowverse Flash.
Yeah, and them having a moment. I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, there really wasn't much that I liked about it. I felt like they were all over the place. They pulled too much information without really giving it its due diligence. They made it 5 episodes when it could have easily have been 3. I didn't like it. It wasn't good. It wasn't the previous crossover.
It seems like that's the norm for Detective Comics.
Suck a dick. It's not. First of all, you have the Dark Knight trilogy. You have Batman 1989. Previous to that, you have, if you were a fan of it, I never watched it, but the Adam West stuff, right? On top of that, you have their animated series, which absolutely blow all of Marvel's animated stuff out of the water. From there,
Into the Spider-Verse, no.
The one that they have, yeah. And that's also Sony. That's also Sony, technically not even Marvel. So
fair enough. But it's Marvel IP. But what I think, like I say, DC being just quick to throw everything into a pot and see what happens. Like I'm talking about Justice League, Batman versus Superman and all that stuff. It's just like way too much in one go without any build. And not that I'm not.
You are a DC fanboy, yet you claim not to be.
I'm a Dark Horse fan.
Bitch, Constantine
is Dark Horse, bruh.
DC.
Dark Horse, bruh.
DC.
Again,
I agree. That they're reactive is the problem. Marvel came out, they're the McDonald's of superhero movies, and so DC had and Warner Brothers had to play catch up, and that's what they did is they played fucking catch up, and they're like, all right, let's just put something together without really doing its due diligence. That's the reason the Dark Knight trilogy and really just the first two movies are so fucking awesome, is because they didn't really have competition to catch up to. They did their own thing, they did their own style, they made it realistic to an extent, right? And they didn't have competition to go against, and they weren't playing catch up. So that's the difference. I think that's why even The Dark Knight to this day is probably my favorite superhero movie. Maybe getting slightly edged out by Endgame, just because, again, multiple characters, bringing them all in, and being, like we talked earlier, a culmination of a decade of movies and storyline. So
oh yeah, I mean, it's 24 movies in 2008 to 2018, 2019.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I think we got on a little tangent here and got sidetracked. We have everybody's favorites. Tell us what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff.
I need another drink. I'm out.
Well, you heard Trey's drink clank and Bryan's yawn, so you know it's time for us to head on out. Thanks again for joining us. We'll catch you on the next episode. And remember, stay nerdy, my friends.